What if I told you there's a car that can outrun some supercars, carry your family's camping gear, cruise in near silence, and even recognize your face before unlocking itself? Would you believe it if I said it's not from Germany, not from America, but from a Chinese brand you probably didn't expect? And here's the real kicker. It's not an SUV, not a sports coupe, but something far rarer, a shooting brake. So the question is, how far can a Chinese brand really go in redefining performance, practicality, and luxury in one machine? Let's find out, because today we're diving into the Zeekr 007 GT, a car that sprints from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in as little as 3.5 seconds, hits a top speed of 210 kilometers per hour, delivers up to 637 horsepower in its flagship dual-motor performance trim, and still has the space and comfort to carry 5 adults. And by the end, you might be questioning what you thought you knew about cars. How does it compare? Now you might be thinking, this sounds amazing, but how does it stack up against the big names? Well, compared to BMW's i4, the Zeekr offers more futuristic interior tech, a larger rear passenger space, and in some trims, even quicker acceleration. Against Tesla's Model 3, it feels more luxurious and better built, especially in terms of cabin materials and noise insulation. And against Polestar 2, it wins on sheer equipment-to-price ratio, giving you more features for less money. When you first lay eyes on the 007 GT, one thing is certain: it doesn't blend into traffic. In a sea of predictable SUV silhouettes and recycled sedan templates, the 007 GT wears a body that screams purpose. At nearly 4.95 meters long, 1.97 meters wide, and 1.56 meters tall, riding on a wheelbase stretching over 3 meters, its stance and proportions are unmistakable. You notice it's not just a stretched hatchback, it's a shooting brake, a rare body style that seems almost rebellious in today's market. This is important. Shooting brakes have always carried a sense of exclusivity, a mix of practicality and performance-focused elegance. Think Ferrari FF or Mercedes CLS shooting brake, but now, from China, with a twist. At the front, the car's stance is aggressive but not overdone. The nose is sleek, with a low-slung hood that feeds into a futuristic light bar. And while some manufacturers just slap on a few LEDs and call it modern, Zeekr has gone for an entire lighting experience. The full-width LED strip doesn't just turn on, it animates, greets you, and communicates in a way that feels like the car is alive. Below that, you get aerodynamic sculpting that isn't just for show. Every crease and vent serves a purpose, whether to channel air around the wheels or reduce drag on high-speed runs. Walk to the side, and you see why enthusiasts are calling this a true statement car. The roofline sweeps back gracefully, avoiding the bulky rear-end problem that plagues many wagons. The beltline, sharp and decisive, gives the car a visual arrow-like thrust, as if it's always ready to launch forward. The frameless doors are a nod to premium coupes, giving you that sleek, uninterrupted glasshouse look. The flush door handles pop out as you approach, adding both aerodynamics and a futuristic feel. And here's the interesting thing. Zeekr didn't go for oversized cartoonish wheels just to make a statement. Instead, you get well-proportioned alloy wheels ranging from 19 to 21 inches, filling the arches without breaking ride comfort. The back end is where the GT badge truly earns its place. The wide rear track gives it a planted stance, while the full-width taillight bar echoes the front's light signature. But it's the subtle spoiler integration that stands out. It's not a tacked-on piece, it's part of the body, contributing to both downforce and the car's visual flow. The tailgate is cleverly designed, practical for cargo, but it still retains that coupe-like slope, meaning you get the style without sacrificing too much boot space of 645 liters. Zeekr knows that design isn't just about shape, it's about personality. The 007 GT comes in a palette of colors that range from sophisticated metallic silvers and deep blues to attention-grabbing matte finishes. Each works differently with the car's surfacing. Light colors emphasize the sharp creases, while darker shades bring out its muscular stance. In a world where many EVs are starting to look eerily similar, smooth, jelly bean-like blobs designed purely for aerodynamics, the Zeekr 007 GT says, "We're not afraid to stand out." This is important for brand identity. Remember, Zeekr is a relatively young brand, and to compete with established giants, they can't just copy, they have to create. And with the 007 GT, they've created something that's not only distinctive, but also instantly recognizable. So the real question is, does all this design drama hide any compromises? Or is it backed by genuine engineering substance? When you open the door of the Zeekr 007 GT, the first thing that hits you is not just the design, but the feeling. You know how some cars look flashy from the outside, but the moment you step in, it's just ordinary. This is not one of those cars. From the very first glance inside, you're greeted with a futuristic, driver-focused environment. And it's not futuristic in the cold, soulless way some EV cabins feel. It's warm, modern, and dripping with intent. The cabin follows what Zeekr calls a clean horizon design. This means everything from the dash to the center console flows in one continuous, uncluttered line. Why does this matter? Because it's more than aesthetic. It plays a psychological trick. Your eyes scan from left to right without interruption, giving the cabin a sense of space much larger than the physical dimensions. And the steering wheel? It's not one of those controversial yokes that make you feel like you're piloting a spaceship badly. Instead, it's a modern two-spoke design, thick-rimmed for grip but elegant enough to blend with the luxury vibes. We're talking Nappa leather as standard, soft-touch surfaces everywhere, and genuine brushed metal accents. Even the stitching feels deliberate, no random automated zigzag. And here's the thing, a lot of brands say they use premium materials, but you can still feel the cost-cutting in hidden spots like the lower door panels or seat bases. In the Zeekr 007 GT, that cheap plastic hunt becomes a game you lose. They went all out. This is where I pause and ask, why is a Chinese EV, a relatively young brand, producing an interior that shames the established German automakers? Could it be that they're deliberately pushing to destroy the cheap China car stereotype? It certainly feels that way. Front and center, you've got a 15.05-inch OLED touchscreen, razor-sharp, ultra-responsive, and floating like it belongs in a sci-fi film. Powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8295 chip, it's as fast as your flagship smartphone. No input lag, no awkward freezes when you switch between apps. And yes, you get over-the-air updates, not just for bug fixes, but full feature upgrades. Imagine waking up one morning and your car's parking assist is suddenly better, your energy management is more efficient, or your entertainment system has a brand new interface, all without visiting a dealer. The driver also gets a full digital instrument cluster and an augmented reality head-up display. This is where the Zeekr flexes. The 35.5-inch AR HUD projects navigation directions, speed, and even adaptive cruise control visuals directly into your line of sight, overlaid onto the road ahead. That means you can literally see arrows and lane guides floating in front of you while driving, a tech move that even premium European brands sometimes reserve for their most expensive trims. The GT's sportier roofline could have been a headroom killer, but clever packaging ensures even tall adults can sit comfortably. The seating capacity is 5, and the front seats are heavily bolstered, holding you in place during spirited driving, but they're not stiff. They're heated, ventilated, and massaging. Yes, massaging, with multiple modes. The rear seats? Heated as well. And unlike some four-door coupes that punish rear passengers with a claustrophobic feel, the Zeekr's long wheelbase keeps things roomy. And here's something subtle but genius: acoustic engineering. Triple-layer laminated glass, sound-deadening materials in the doors, and even noise cancellation tech in the audio system. On the move, the cabin feels like a soundproof chamber. It's the kind of quiet where you can hear your own breathing. Speaking of sound, the Yamaha 21-speaker premium audio system is a statement in itself. It's not just about loudness, it's about clarity, depth, and soundstage. Now, let's be honest, a good-looking EV is one thing, a tech-filled, futuristic EV is another. But none of that matters if the moment you press the accelerator, it feels like you're driving a lifeless metal box on wheels. So, how does the Zeekr 007 GT actually perform when the road gets twisty, bumpy, or downright challenging? Spoiler, it's surprisingly good. The first thing you notice behind the wheel is how easy it is to handle for a car of this size and performance. The steering isn't super heavy, even in sport mode, which means you don't need bodybuilder arms just to take a sharp corner. Sure, if you're coming from a BMW, you might say, not quite as feelsome. But here's the twist. The Zeekr steering is precise and confidence-inspiring, and for daily driving, it's actually more relaxing. Now, one of the biggest fears with sporty-looking EVs is that they'll shake your teeth out the moment you hit a pothole. But Zeekr clearly thought about that. The 007 GT uses an advanced suspension system that balances firmness with comfort. It glides over rough surfaces without feeling floaty, meaning you get the best of both worlds: solid control when cornering, gentle cushioning when cruising. Even in more aggressive driving scenarios, the car never feels unsettled. And here's where it gets addictive. Because of instant torque, the moment you press down, the car surges forward with no hesitation. In the top dual-motor all-wheel drive performance trim, you're looking at a staggering 637 horsepower, 475 kilowatts, with 710 Nm of torque, vaulting you from 0 to 100 km per hour in just 2.95 seconds, and capped off with a top speed of 210 km per hour. It's not just fast, it's effortlessly violent, like your heartbeat matching the road's rhythm. Below that, there are additional trims with distinct character. A single-motor RWD variant offering around 421 horsepower, 310 kilowatts, and a more laid-back 0 to 100 km per hour in about 5.4 seconds, and mid-range all-wheel drive versions that bridge the gap, balancing pull and poise at around 3.5 to 3.8 seconds to the ton. But here's the real kicker. Unlike many Western EV brands, Zeekr is still expanding globally, meaning early adopters could be getting a future icon before the rest of the world catches on. Depending on configuration, the Zeekr 007 GT starts at around 300,000 yen, roughly $41,000 USD, for the base single-motor rear-wheel drive version, and climbs for the flagship dual-motor all-wheel drive. Yet it can still come in thousands of dollars less than a similarly spec'd BMW or Tesla. And yet, you're not giving up on performance, range, or tech. In fact, in some areas, you're getting more. It's the kind of car that makes you ask, why pay more for a badge when you can have all this? So after spending time with the Zeekr 007 GT, here's the truth. This isn't just another new EV from China. This is a statement. It's Zeekr saying we're not just catching up, we're setting the pace.